It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Chaos.
Well, I know he had a good time.
Well, here we go. You ready for it? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. So just depending on whenever you listen to the show, we are here for you. Welcome to the Swipe Wrong podcast. I am Chaos. I am the guy who gets to listen to everybody's stories and gets to understand what the hell is actually going on out there in the world. And I can't say I always understand. We are the number one podcast amongst people who sing the Frozen theme song in the workplace. Oh, there's a special place somewhere for those people, that's for sure. Welcome to the time when we are still in the upside down. We are in the in-between. We will be launching full episodes here shortly. I think we're targeting the beginning of June. We've just got quite a bit of bonus material and a couple of things we want to get to. This one's going to be kind of fun, you know. Last year, or not last year, I say year because seasons, I think of year, and that's not the case. Our seasons are usually about 10 episodes long, and then we do the bonus material and some of the other stuff. So as we're between the second and third season, between the first and the second season, Jay and I did our favorite picks. And in this case, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do our favorite spots from some episodes. So you're going to catch a couple of people in some of the things that they said that we were like, yep, okay, liked that one. I think I went a little bit different route than Jay might. I'm not exactly sure. There's a story, but I think I enjoyed kind of learning how people go about the dating experience. So there's going to be some situations. There's going to be there is a story in here, but there is also how behavior has gone about, like how they attack their dating as opposed to how they did before and what they've learned. One thing I will definitely say that I've learned through talking to people is if you've been on the sites for a while, you do it a heck of a lot different than you did when you first started. So that's what kind of intrigued me, and hopefully, as much as anything, like this is a show where we get some of the stories, and there's some jaw droppers, and just wait for season 3 to pop because I was like, damn, in that. But hopefully there's like, yeah, that's a better way to maybe go about it than what, or let me try that way as opposed to what I'm trying now and see if I have a little bit more success. So, Lord knows, Swipe Wrong, I can't say is going to be a how-to on anything, but if we can help, that's the biggest thing, you know, be kind to each other, and we're here to help as much as we possibly can. So, you know this part too. Sit back, relax, put your feet up. Grab your popcorn, salt it, butter it, do whatever you want to do to it. Get some caramel corn this time if you want to. If you're in traffic, be kind. Don't hit that person next to you, in front of you, behind you. Don't brake check if they're tailgating. Just slow down a little and enjoy some of my favorite moments from season 2. Did I forget to mention we do have a word from our crack staff legal department? Here they are.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
We were meeting for drinks, and we live in 2 separate towns, not that far apart. So we were meeting in the middle, and I chose a place that was easy to get to, a place that was really well known. So therefore it's just easy to find. So should be simple enough. And when you walk in, it has this nice seating area before the restaurant, before the bar, with lots of like leather sofas, really comfy, nice lighting, so you can sit and relax and have a drink there if you choose. So I thought, well, that might be a nice place to sit and have a drink together. So I'd been sitting there for a while, quite a while. And I'd been sitting there for so long. I swear to you, I honestly leaned my head against the wall and I nodded off. I actually nodded off because I had been there for about 40 minutes at that point. And I've got two kids at home. I'm working, I'm running around. So to run and to go to a date for drinks on a weekday evening for me is like, that's exhausting. So I went. And then my phone woke me up because I got a text message from him. And it just said that he had printed off the Google map, but he just couldn't find the place. And I'm thinking, you've printed off the Google map? I said, okay, no worries, Kim. Not everybody has a sat nav in their cars. No, that's okay. So I decided to call him. I thought, oh, I need to figure out where he is. So after a conversation with him, I realized he was in a village not too far away. So I told him where to go, which was, a nice little pub that was right across the street from where I was, and that I would come to him just to make it a little bit easier for him. So I drove there and parked my car in the back. They've got this lovely little sort of garden area in behind the pub. And I walked in through into the pub doors, and you can just imagine an old English pub. So it's a little bit dimly lit. You've got the big bar in front of you, seating on the right, seating on the left. And there's not many people in there. So I looked to the left. It had to be him, but it wasn't the guy from the photos.
Oh,
He was at least 15 years older than the photo.
Exactly what we were saying earlier.
Yeah. So he bought me my drink. Diet Coke was all I was having. So I thought, okay, so basically that was the beginning of the conversation that I was having with myself in my head the whole evening long. I was like, okay. So he looks a little older than his photos. No problem. Let's just have a conversation and see how this goes. So we started chatting, and I just asked him the basic question, which for whatever reason hadn't been answered in the text messages. But I asked him, so you are divorced? How long have you been divorced? He's like, well, actually, it's not been that long since my wife just left me. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a conversation going on in my head. Right. And I'm like, oh, tell me what happened. Oh, a couple of months ago, I came home from the surgery, and walked into the house, and half of everything was gone. She had left with her daughter. They were gone. I'm like, oh, was that a surprise? Like, yeah, it was, but I didn't really mind because I didn't really like the daughter. Stepkids, you can't love them like they're your own. God. Oh, there goes the conversation in my head. Oh my goodness. Oh, where do we go from here with the conversation? So I asked him, if he had any understanding of, what led to her leaving. And he really just had no idea. She just left. That conversation was going nowhere. So I knew, if I talk about his kids, because he messaged a lot about his kids, he's very proud of his kids, all doing really well. So I started asking them about his kids. One's a doctor. Can't remember what the other one was. The third youngest was quite athletic, but she was a problem child. Oh, really? Why was she a problem child? Oh, she wouldn't sit still. She was full of so much energy. So we had to put her in her room. Oh, no. And I'm just thinking to myself, please tell me you don't lock her in. Don't lock her in. But she wouldn't stay in her room. She kept coming out. So we had to put a lock on the outside door. Like, oh my God. So he used to lock his daughter in her room, and the problem went away. She then became, not so active after being locked in a room. So it wasn't an issue anymore.
Or institutionalized, one or the other.
So we were then talking about, he was explaining, I asked him about his work, and at his work he had a stuffed fox in a surgery. And I'm like, health and safety, how can that even be allowed? A furry animal in a doctor's office? And he's like, well, the others are at home, just the one in the office. And I'm like thinking, uh-oh, do you have a collection? I'm like, well, yes, I do, but they were my wife's. And so I've put them all in the loft now because she didn't take them. So it's all in the loft.
Oh my gosh.
Once I discovered he had a taxidermy collection and a child that he used to lock in her bedroom, and he didn't look anything like the photos that he sent me. I bought him a drink because we were both finished our drinks. So I bought him a drink, put it on the table, and didn't sit back down and said, thank you for the evening. But this just isn't going to work out.
That might be the best way to leave I've ever heard.
So Happy has this concept of it's all based on your location.
Okay.
And I don't remember the ins and outs of it, but it's something like, so like, let's say you and I are both on the site or on the app, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you and I, it's sort of that whole, was that Craigslist? So that was like when you met somebody you saw somebody on a train,
Yeah.
So it's sort of that concept of like, if we happen to pass each other or be in the same bar together, like you'll pop up on my feed. Wow. And like, if I like you and you like me, but you have to be within like a certain distance of each other.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like they kind of took that idea and ran with it. So we like crossed paths around St. Patty's Day in the city and, both happened to like each other. And so then we were able to start talking.
That's pretty cool. I'm not familiar with that. That's cool. Yeah. I'm glad you told me about
that.
I like the concept.
Right. It's right. But now that I'm like, fully immersed in the suburban mother life and I don't like leave a, 30-mile radius of my house other than to go to hockey tournaments.
Yeah. Sure.
It doesn't work well for me because like I know everybody in my town. But like if you live in the city, it's great. Like, or if you don't have kids and you're out mingling and going places and doing things, I think it works well.
Yeah. Well, then you get on a site like Facebook Dating and it gives zero fucks about distance. Like, like you put in like, I want 50-mile radius and you're fucking matching with somebody in fucking Wichita.
3 states away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. I'm just going, oh my God, that's weird. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you met him on Happen. Okay. And then that's the only one there. And then, things
we dated for a long time. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I went back on the site. So I was on the sites, for like a year before him and I started dating seriously.
Okay. So you had small kids back then.
I had very small kids at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he have kids?
No.
Okay.
No
kids. I feel like, and you can tell me to go fuck myself because like that's totally fair. We've already addressed this part.
I think I already have. So.
Yeah. That's right. We've seen how this kind of rolls out. I feel like there's levels, especially for a single mom, single dad. It's like the first level when you date with somebody is you have to get through. All right, do we text communicate well? Okay, we do. All right, are we face to face well? Is this guy or girl fucking absolutely batshit crazy? Yeah. And then level 3 is like how good is the sex? And like level 15 is do the kids get along with them? And like it's like you have to fucking section it away to get to all right, cool, we can do a relationship. Does that feel about right? Or am I nuts? Okay.
No, you're 100% right.
It's like it's so proceed with caution.
Yes, and I mean he didn't meet my kids for over a year.
That's cool.
It's interesting. My friends and I have this conversation all the time about like, do you date somebody with kids or somebody not with kids? Like there's pros and cons to both because like if you as a single parenting person now try to date another single parenting person, like the first question out of the bat is like, what's your parenting schedule? Oh, because like, if it doesn't line up, like if our weekends are opposite, then like this is done before it even gets off the app.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're never going to find a way to spend time together. But if you date somebody who doesn't have kids, so right now the schedule flexibility improves, right? But like, most of the time they have zero concept of what your life is really like.
Right.
And they can't relate to your kids or whatever. or they don't necessarily like the fact that they're not priority number one.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that what you run into? Like if you run, especially with your schedule, you have a pretty crazy work schedule, and then you have the kid schedule, then you have the hockey schedule. And then like if you're dating a dude who's just like, I sit around in my underwear half the day and don't do anything, do they get like trip out? Like if you don't have enough time for them?
I haven't encountered it personally. He was great about it. I think he actually liked it because I just said this to my girlfriend last night. I used to wonder why guys that didn't have kids would want to date a woman that did. I was like, why would they want to do that? And then I realized something. I was like, okay. And we were talking about this, like guys are much better at not, I don't want to say not prioritizing relationships, but not like putting everything into a relationship. Sure. Women kind of tend to like put all their eggs in there and let other parts of their life kind of not get the priority they need. And so guys, I think, love dating me with kids because like at least, well, for me, in my case, 70% of my time is already occupied.
Sure.
And so they're like, I can go to the game. I can watch football. I can hang out with my, I can go to the gym. Like they don't have to ask permission, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Yeah. Like they're not going to get shit from me because like, I don't know, I am already doing my own thing. And it's perfect because they don't have to like deal with that. Like, I hate the stereotypical like female backlash because that's not me, but I do know women that are that way. Yeah. And like give them shit about going to the bar with their buddies or whatever. So they're like, this is perfect because like she's already busy.
Yeah. No, there's logic there. So I am a single guy without kids. So I'm I hate this, but I'm that guy. No one wants to be that guy, but I'm that guy. And I dated a girl for about 4.5 years who had kids. Okay. And I never thought I wanted kids until I dated her. And then you just kind of have like the attachment and you're like, damn. And the hardest part is like when we broke up, I'm like, damn, am I not going to see the kids anymore? Well, luckily, nobody was an asshole. Nobody cheated. There wasn't all this bloodshed and chaos and anything like that. So still really good friends with the kids. And I can see what you're saying about the time management. And I definitely have heard a few times where some guys, though, just like, hey, if you're not going to make me the priority over your entire life, then you can go fuck yourself. That's a go fuck yourself theme. And then at the same time, like I could like a dude that says that should be punched in the throat, in my opinion. Yeah. Totally. Guys are just so fucking narcissistic.
Well, and it's funny because I have a good guy friend that I actually met on a dating app years ago. And he was, I was a little more fresh in my being divorced. He was a couple of years ahead of me. And he had told me, he said, I won't date people that don't have kids anymore. And and I was like, why? And he's like, he said that from, the male perspective, the women really struggle to not be the priority with kid. And he's a super involved dad. And he was like, my kids are always going to be first or whatever. And they can't handle it. So I'm not dating them anymore. And I was like, I feel like you're kind of casting a narrow net, but okay.
Good luck.
I've gone from one horrible situation to another and something's off. Time to focus inward a little bit. Sure. And do things differently. Stop. I guess my big takeaway from dating and the apps is my message would be to stop asking, do they like me? And do I actually like that person?
Yeah. 100%.
So that's kind of how I'm approaching it now.
So that's when all this broke down, you stepped back, and then how long did it take for you to start asking yourself that question? Like where did the change start to come from? Like when you're like, fuck, I just needed to focus on me.
Yeah. I guess.
Buddy.
Yeah, so here cute. He is. He's huge.
He's adorable.
He's a baby too. He's only 9 months. But all went down probably in August that we all realized that it's the end of August. It was the end of the summer. And like I said, I'm a competitor. I had my first show in November and then I did another show in December. So things had gotten pretty intense for me training wise and with my diet. And it kind of limited me with dating just because I couldn't, go on dates and eat and drink like most normal people. So I thought, well, this is a really good time for me to kind of step back, focus on my goals, figure out what I want. Because the other thing that I've learned after looking back is a lot of these men that I dated post-divorce, they're not even people that I would date currently. Now that I feel like I've changed, I look at myself, I'm like, what? I wasn't really physically attracted to that person. I wasn't who they are, who their value, like what their values are, don't align with mine. We don't have a lot of the same interests. I think I was just so hungry for attention after coming out of that divorce and validation, and just I wanted someone to say, yeah, you've still got it. Yeah. And in the process, I lost the main point, which is to find a relationship that's healthy and mutual and supportive. Right.
Right.
And so I guess I took the fall into the winter to kind of pull back. I got off the dating apps. Okay. I read a book. It's called The 4-Man Plan. Okay. And this is where the Mantrix was born. So I now have something called the Mantrix, which I have been busy with.
So help me understand the Mantrix.
Okay. So this is not my idea. I can't claim this totally as my own. I have adapted the Mantrix to my own. There are things and changes I've made, but I did read this book. I can't tell you who the author is off the top of my head, but it's called The 4-Man.
Okay.
But basically what I do is I have set a time period. I think it was December 15th. I recreated my Hinge profile. All right. Okay. Instead of approaching it where I said, I'm going to just put up the best looking pictures of myself, pictures where I feel like I look the prettiest or the most interesting. That's kind of how I approached it before. Like, do I look hot in this picture? Would somebody find me attractive? And so I totally wiped that idea clean. And I said, all right, I'm going to only put up pictures that represent who I am as a whole. So I made a list of all of the things that I'm interested in, my personality. So I made sure to put a picture up with me with my kids, but I blocked out my kids because that's a big thing for me. If I'd see a dating profile and somebody has their kids plastered on there, it's kind of like immediate red flag. Yeah. So, but I want people to know I'm a mom. I think that's really important. And the first time I built a profile, I didn't include that, which big mistake number one. I made sure to put up pictures of me being silly. So for my work, I dress up in character and I lead presentations and professional development in different characters. So like, for example, there's a picture of me dressed up as Napoleon Dynamite.
Nice.
And, it's a side
by for Pedro.
Yeah. I have that shirt on in the picture with the wig and the glasses and everything.
Yeah, I don't love that. Like, you have to send me that picture if you don't mind. I would love to see it.
Send it to you. So I have that one. I also have up a picture of me doing a skit, the coffee talk from SNL. I was Madonna and my friend Tammy, she's Mike Myers. And so we have that one up. I have a picture of myself in a fitness picture because I'm a fitness coach. So I have a shot that I did in a gym lifting weights, and that's a big part of my life. So I wanted that represented. Okay. So anyway, I just took time to really think about who I am and try to attract somebody that would find that interesting, So I revamped my profile. That was December 15th. And then I set a reminder in my calendar and I called it intentional dating era. Okay. So I have 3 months of my intentional dating era. And I made a promise to myself that I would really go for it and really put in effort, because what I want back is somebody that's willing to put in effort. So if I want that in return, I have to give it, Okay. So I promised to show up. I promised to check my messages, respond to my messages in a timely manner. If I like someone on the app, I will like it and also send a comment related to something in their profile. So to show that I'm actually interested. Okay. And so then when I'm looking, before somebody becomes a plan man, somebody that enters my Mantrix, you only enter the Mantrix if you've exchanged contact information off the app. So there's kind of a lot that goes into it before that happens. So things like, I'll ask myself, is this person matching my effort? Am I getting, like, if somebody likes my profile, are they sending me a message? I may match with them and give it a minute, give it a day, but if they don't come back and say anything to me, I most likely will unmatch, So there's a lot of matching that's going on, but not a lot of them are translating even to conversations. And some conversations, it's just, hi, how was your week?
Yeah, sure. Cosmetic, superficial.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, can you can you ask me anything about what I have in my profile?
Sure.
And so again, I try to do the same thing. And if I'm not feeling that vibe, the other thing I've started to do is on all of the apps that I'm using, they have a voice feature. So
Yes.
I send a voice message. And in my profile, I specifically say, don't hate me if I send you a voice message, because I don't love to text. Just as a person in general, I'm not a huge texter.
Yeah.
So I send that, and then I'll send a voice message. And if they respond back with a voice message, that's like huge bonus points, but they don't have to. I get that not everybody likes the sound of their voice and it's awkward, but I think it shows a level of effort again, and that's again what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So all of this happens. Then let's say somebody says, well, let's chat if you want to exchange numbers. I always will say yes if I'm feeling the vibe. I'm not one of those women that gives out a Google number or, avoids chatting, no, I don't care. I'll give you my number. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So as soon as I give my number out and we have an exchange once back and forth, they enter the matrix.
Okay.
And in the matrix, there's 4 quadrants, because the ultimate goal is to have 4 men on the matrix. Okay. So there's different quadrants that you can place the names. And in the quadrants, I try to put information about them that I've gathered through the app, their age, maybe where they live, if they have kids, anything that's going to help me remember that person. So that way, when I'm talking to them, I have, because it gets hard. You're in all these conversations and you want to be
100%.
able to remember who you're talking to. And the worst would be like, oh, didn't I tell you that already? And they're like, no, that must be your other boyfriend, so
totally.
You have to keep good notes. You have to stay organized.
Totally.
And I am an organized person to a T. I'm pretty type A. So this works really well for me. I also love data. So I am a huge data nerd. I take data on everything, hence being a bodybuilder. I mean, it's kind of goes with the territory. So this works really well.
Your food, your analytics, all up and down, right?
Yeah. So I'm treating dating kind of like a scientific experiment in the sense.
Okay. How's it going? So since you've done that, like better dates, better quality people, better overall experience?
I would say yes. I would say that the people that I've matched with now, we have much more in common than I have with the men that I matched with and went out with before. Okay. Because of these steps that I've taken. So the effort that you put in up front will give you so much that you need to know if you even want to pursue it, whereas before I was just so hungry for a date or hungry for attention that I matched with anyone.
Sure.
So,
and that had to be exhausting. I mean, honestly, like you must have been carrying on so many conversations. It had to be sensory overload.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and this can get kind of overwhelming too, because the goal, again, it is to move pretty much as many people as you can into the matrix. And then, but once you go on a date, right? So I've gone on quite a few first dates recently. And this is where myself and the book, we kind of differ. The book would tell me everybody gets 2 dates. Okay. I disagree. I think that you learn a lot if you're asking the right questions and you've done a lot of the pre-work up front. You go into that first date already kind of getting a good feel for this person. And if you don't, it's on you. So for example, and I'm going to be fully transparent here.
Please.
I had a first date last night and I made a huge mistake in not doing a phone call or FaceTime with this person before.
Okay.
So because we were vibing, because I felt like, oh, his profile is really cute. And he did, kind of meet the effort criteria. He seemed like we had a lot of things in common. But when I got on the date, the physical chemistry was just not there. And it's not just looks is what I've realized. It's also, do you make me laugh? Do you make me smile? You don't have to be a comedian, but am I smiling on the date? Does it feel super serious? And so that is such a turn off if that's not there.
So without the phone call, you didn't. So I've heard and I've talked to, a good handful of people. A lot of times the text message, and that's where you're at, like versus the face-to-face conversation can be so different because they have time to create the message back to you and you're not seeing that same vibe when you're face-to-face. Is that kind of what you mean? What happened?
Absolutely. So I know for sure that if we would have done a call, even a phone call, it doesn't have to be FaceTime.
Sure.
But if we would have done a call, I could have gotten a better sense of his energy and just how he speaks or presents himself. I mean, there were a couple moments last night on the date. He was talking so softly that it made me self-conscious. I thought, am I a loud talker? Like, is he embarrassed right now?
You go Seinfeld, close talker and all that stuff too, right?
Exactly.
Yes, totally.
So I'm like leaning in. I'm like, what did you say? So there were just little things like that I just felt, God. And I drove home and I called my girlfriend. I was like, I know this is my fault. This is totally on me, 100% on me for not doing the call, because everybody I've done a call with that I've said, okay, let's go to a first date. Those first dates have been so good. So good.
I had a termite inspection done on my house, or it was, scheduled. And I go to open the door and there's a very recognizable face at the other side of my door. And he's wearing the termite getup, the whole thing. And I read the name on the name tag. And I'm just like, whoa, like this guy, like one, he's really good looking. Two, I'm like, where do I know him? He looks so familiar. So I'm just checking him out the whole time. He's like in and out of my house, like taking this little stick thing and like poking the ceilings, like do termite tests on my house. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm thinking of all the ways I could just like flirt with him, get his Instagram, like whatever. Like I was really just feeling him. But none of that happened. But I kind of like could tell he was like checking me out a little bit, even though I looked very like toe up. I just got out of bed, like my hair is a mess, like hadn't put on makeup yet. My clothes aren't even matching. Like it's just a mess because you think it's an old fart that's gonna be inspecting your ceiling.
It's your own adult film.
I know. Oh, well, funny you should say that.
Oh, okay.
It's really funny you should say that. So anyway, we finish up and he finishes up. Like I was just kind of sitting there waiting for him to be done. And he leaves and all of a sudden flashed through my mind, Dustin. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say his name. But anyway. Well,
you say whatever you want. No, it's good.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of Dustins in the world, so you're okay. And probably a lot better termite inspectors.
True.
Yeah,
True.
So you're all right.
Okay. Thank you. So, oh my God, it like flashed in my mind and I actually saved his profile. And because in my phone, I like collect all for my date like a dude stuff. I collect all the funniest Tinder profiles, and his is one of them. Like he has a really funny one. And he's been forever like in my little photo album. And I recently just came across it a few days ago before he even showed up at my house to do termite inspection. And his profile picture like flashed in my eyes or in my mind. And I literally made the connection. I was like, what? I'm like, this is the guy I matched with in 2021. Wow. We like matched. We like immediately texted. We flirted and, all the other things. But we had never met.
Oh, so wow.
We'd never met because I think he like kind of dropped the ball a few times. Excuse me. And I got kind of like, impatient and just kind of like cut it off. So, moved on. And that was in 2021. And here we are in 2023 of February. And I'm answering the door. This guy's oddly familiar, very attractive. I'm like, just back and forth, and then it just flashes in my head. So I had long since like deleted him from my Snapchat. I deleted his contact in my phone, but I have a MacBook whatever laptop, and in my laptop there's an archive of texts that I usually don't really get rid of. I don't really need to. So I was like, I bet his number is going to be in there, and I find it. And I send him a message instantly. And I was like, casually just like, oh, so you're a termite inspector, huh? He was like, I knew it was you. He's like, I knew you were so familiar. He's like, I'm glad we finally got to meet.
No way. First of all, how many text messages did you have to go through to find him?
Oh,
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Like, this guy must be really good looking for you to take the time to go through all those archived messages that your MacBook has saved.
I liked what I saw when I opened that door. I was like, what?
So what's this mean now? Like, so you're texting, like, are you going to go out?
Well, we planned to, but again, it didn't really connect. So I think he's coming back to patch up the holes in my ceiling where termites have been, though.
That's code. That's totally code. That's code, isn't it? I get it. Patch the holes in your ceiling. Thank you for being along for the ride on the Swipe Wrong podcast, where we take everyday people like you and me telling their everyday stories of their swipe right life. Show is produced by Jay Pelham. He is the host of Pelham Place. If you want to reach out to the show and tell us your story, we'd love to hear it. Give us a call. Google Voice us at 317-426-6616. Leave your information and we'll get back to you, or just your story. You can also email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Insta, Facebook, TikTok. We're out there. I am Chaos, the host of Chaotic Commentary. You can find me pretty much anywhere that you see me. And next week, the saga continues.
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong.